What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. We're going to talk about this commander bracket system. I gave it a couple days because I wanted to kind of see how it functioned on like spell table and stuff. And I understand it's just a beta. It's not the like set in stone version of this yet. But if you guys are looking for the link to this, I will link it down in the description box here for the official Wizards site. Gavin Verhey did a whole article on it, breaking it down for us. So let's check this out. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire article with you guys. It would just take way too long to go through the whole thing. It'll be a ridiculous video. But I'm going to kind of go over the 5 brackets here and what they're calling the game changer list. And then give you my opinion on it, because this is something everyone's kind of got to know about to deal with. It's their new way of functioning the power levels of Commander. Do I agree with the way they did it? No. Do I think it needs some work? Yes. It's a beta, so hopefully we do get a more realistic setup here in the future, or a little more in-depth bracket system in the future. But so it's 5 brackets. Bracket 1 is your ultra casual commander decks. No mass land destruction, no extra turns, no 2-turn infinite combo or 2-card infinite combos, no game changer cards, which I'll show you guys the list here in a second, and a few tutors. So this is where one of the big debates is. At least in my play group, we've been talking about what few tutors is considered. Like, is few tutors 2? Is few tutors 3 to 5? Like, what is few tutors? You know, I guess that is something that ends up being part of the Rule Zero conversation then, because I feel like that's what this bracket system is going to do. It's going to bring a whole lot into the Rule Zero conversation, and a lot of honesty into the Rule Zero conversation. Now, take that with a grain of salt. How much of the community is going to have enough understanding of what their deck is doing or supposed to do, even with the bracket system, to know what bracket they're in, is the question. But bracket 1, super casual. Gavin did throw in here, which I thought was pretty interesting. Winning is not the primary goal here, as it is more of showing off something unusual you have made. So it's not like an optimized deck. It's not a deck that's like, oh, well, I'm going to win on turn 6 every game with this exact strategy. They did put some examples in here. Villains yelling in the art. Everything has the number 4. Oops, all horses. Those are all fair game. Decks like my 5-color Pinger deck could even be considered in this bracket. I did not do the deck list for that yet, but it is coming. I'm tweaking it a little bit. But, you know, it's not meant to win. It's just kind of meant to have fun. So, bracket 2 is core. It's the average current pre-constructed deck. So, the pre-con right out the box, and decks similar build to the pre-cons. Same deal, though. No mass land destruction. No 2-card infinite combos, no game changer cards, no chaining extra turns. You can play extra turns, just no chaining extra turns, and a few tutors. 3 is upgraded beyond the strength of an average precon, which I feel like a lot of decks that were like level 6 to 7, in my opinion, are going to land up in 3 or 4 generally here. But for 3, same deal, no mass land destruction, so 5-color land destruction decks are now 4s. Late game 2-card combos. I want to see if they mentioned, let's see, should not have any 2-turn infinite okay. I wanted to see what they defined as late game. So, generally not have any 2-card infinite combos that can happen cheaply and in about the first 6 turns or so. So 2-card infinite combos after turn 6. is what they're categorizing that for 3. And then you get 3 game changer cards. Like I said, we're going to check out the list here in a second. And then 4 and 5. 4 is high power commander, and then 5 is CEDH. Now, underneath the brackets, they didn't put anything except no restrictions other than the ban list. Now, this is where most players have to understand CEDH as a whole, and understand that the difference between a high power deck and a CEDH deck. Okay. I don't think. Yeah. So CEDH, they put high power, very competitive, and metagame focused mindset. And 4, it's just time to go wild. Bring your strongest decks and cards. Expect those explosive starts, strong tutors, cheap combos, high power commander, and games to potentially end quickly. CEDH, obviously, it's competitive. So there's like a meta to CEDH. I'm hoping that they will bring a more in-depth look into these come come before this goes live, like before this is like the finished product type deal. The game changer list here is just cards that they feel like when they come down or when they get played, it just really changes the game. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm just going to leave it here on the screen. You guys can pause it here, read all these cards if you like, or I will link this page in the description box. You guys can go check it out either way. But, so, here's my opinion on this, okay? In the grand scheme of things, this could work. But I don't think this version of it is going to work. And here's why. So, Spell Table, okay, for those of you who don't know, Spell Table, you can play games online. All you need is a webcam and a Surface to play, and a computer, laptop. Some people do it with their phones. You can play with people around the world on the internet. So, I played a couple of games in Spell Table over the last couple days, kind of testing it out. I joined a couple of CEDH pods and a couple of like 4 bracket pods, and I did one bracket 1 game. Was not my favorite. The bracket 1 game just took way too long. That game went on for like 2 or 3 hours. But the CEDH pods I jumped into, without the clear definition between 4 and CEDH, there are some players, now it's not a lot. I played 2 games, 3 games tops in that bracket. So maybe 5 players that I've met so far that thought their decks were CEDH, and then they sit down to a CEDH pod on Spell Table, and you got, we're playing Urza, Lord High Artificer, and then they wonder why on turn 3 all of a sudden the game's over, or turn 4 the game's over. They're sitting down to a pod of decks that are CEDH decks, and theirs are just not cutting the thing. But they think because the bracket list says so that theirs might be able to hold in the CEDH realm. And there might be some decks that can flirt with both sides of the line. Okay, but there's not going to be enough. And then the same is for like 1 and 2. You're going to have people that are playing 3s and 4s that either A, don't know they're playing 3 or 4s and think they're a 1, or don't want to accept that they're playing 3 and 4s because they can't win in 3 and 4, so they're going to play in 1 and 2, and they're just going to be winning these games thinking they're doing amazing, and it's just, it's not fun for the other people in the game. Now, I don't think this bracket system should affect too much as far as casual players, okay? Like, if you're playing at home on your kitchen table with your regular play group, you're just playing some games, with the same couple people you always play with, this bracket system ain't going to do anything for you guys, okay? Now, you sit down at a LGS and you have that, it gives you a branch into the Rule Zero conversation. I get it. They want you to have that Rule Zero conversation with people at your LGS. But I don't see how this bracket system is going to apply to commander events, like paid commander events. Are they going to limit you? Like, are we going to have to submit deck lists now at certain LGSs? They're going to be like, oh, well, we're doing a bracket 3 commander event today. Or we're doing a bracket 1 commander event, you know? Like, you know, are we doing all pauper decks that happen to be bracket 1, you know, for the event today? Does that then keep like players from playing CDH decks? Does that keep them from playing infinite combos? Does that keep the amount of people actually playing in the event? Is what I'm trying to think here, and I don't know like how the bracket system is even going to help outside of like casual games, because just in events, obviously you're going to sit down with your strongest deck. At least in my mind, in a paid event, I'm sitting down with my strongest deck and hoping for the best. Okay, and hoping that everybody at the table is bringing their strongest decks too. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about this bracket system. I will leave the link to this in the description box for you guys to go check out, like always. And one other thing I wanted to mention is if you want to see what bracket your deck is. Now, it's not a set in stone system. I don't know how they figured it out. But on Architect, Manabox, and Architect, Manabox, and Moxfield, you put your deck list in, and let's no, that's not what we want. Alright, so I'll show you guys here real quick, at least on Architect. They do put here next to the price of the deck, estimated commander bracket upgraded 3. So this is obviously just a estimated, like it's not a set in stone type thing. I don't know if the 3 websites are using different metrics to figure it out with the brackets, but this is at least a way for you to get a general idea of where your deck sits in the bracket system, if that's something you guys want to check out also. So keep that in mind as well. And yeah, that's all I got to say on this, guys. I don't think this bracket system is going to work without too much more detail being put into it. I think it's definitely going to take some work. It's going to take some adjustments. But I also think the ban list is going to change a little bit. And then people are going to kind of treat this game changer list almost as a ban list per se. Like they're going to unban some cards and think just because they're putting them on a game changer list, it's going to keep it out of like the lower bracket games, to make it more accessible for more casual players type deal. But let me know down below what you guys think. That's my opinion on this bracket system. Do I think it's going to be good? I don't know. I think there's a lot of flaws with it, but I'd like to hear what you guys got to say. So leave a comment down below, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next Deck Tech.